Alrighty, I missed most of last week, primarily on account of being out of town, but it's a brand new month, so let's get back on this daily grind. What do we have here? Base and Plunder, and also Rising Sun. Okay. So draw, we got Pilgrim, Longship, I think that's it. Actions, only Longship. Alley's art kind of looks like Plaza, and it costs 4, and so I think it tends to look like a village at a glance to me. Trashing, Sentry, Secluded Shrine, also Enlarge, and plus buy, there's Abundance, there's also gains. Silvermine and Bandit can gain you treasures, Enlarge can turn stuff into other things, like Bandit gaining gold, enlarging into a province could maybe be a thing that comes up. Silvermine also can gain Abundance, that might be a relevant interaction here. It says Silvermine, but it's actually a treasure costing less than 5 mine. So my thought is the kingdom seems pretty limited by the amount of actions. There's a lot of terminals you'd be happy to play with here. You just draw your deck with Pilgrims, play a Bandit, and then Enlarge at the end of the turn. But the only village is Longship, which is not a terrible card, but I'd say it's pretty weak as a main village because you have to buy 2 copies of a 5-cost card just to get 1 village effect per turn, because every other turn it gets stuck out of play doing the draw thing. So if there were a cheaper, more easily attainable village, I think you'd probably play this differently. But with a Longship as the only village, I don't think you're actually building all that big here. There's also Enlarge, which I think is pretty decent at in the game early. You know, you can turn province into province to close out the game quickly. And so I think the conjunction of those two makes me think this actually might not be such a big engine after all, even if all of the requisite parts are technically present. I'm not sure about that. Like, you could still draw your deck just primarily playing Longships and fewer Pilgrims, and then that terminal space goes more towards playing Bandit and Enlarge. I'm not really sure. Anyways, how to open. Yes, the events. I always forget the events in Kingdom View. Journey, very strong. I think it's often a pretty automatic buy if you have 4 money and haven't drawn your deck yet. Just because like 4 money for essentially 5 extra cards, 1 extra action is obviously great. Avoid, also very strong in the right contexts. Potentially does tricky stuff with the opening. Later in the game, you can just skip past 3 provinces. That's like plus 3 cards for 2. Something to watch out for. How to open. So, definitely one of the thinners. You could open Secluded Shrine directly, or you could go for Sentry, which is definitely the better trasher, but obviously a little bit slower to get going. One thing to consider is if you buy one thing turn 3, and then buy Avoid twice turn 4, you give yourself exactly a 5-card hand, and then you just like sculpt your turn 3 hand. For example, guarantee you hit 5, buy a Sentry, shuffle it straight back in. Or maybe it's buy Secluded Shrine, guarantee you have a hand of 1 shrine, 2 copper, 2 estates, buy a silver, kill 2 estates, shuffle the shrine back in. Both of those actually sound pretty nice. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that turn 2 is double avoid. Journey, I think, is deceptively bad on turn 2 in particular. In a situation like this, there's context where it makes sense. Wouldn't rule it out, but like for these purposes, you buy a silver here, you buy Journey, you think, oh, I've shuffled a silver in, I'm gonna have a decent hand, but you're also shuffling in 2 estates, and none of your if these estates are back in there, the estate from this hand is back in there, but 4 of the coppers are out of play, and so your deck is gonna be like disproportionately estates, and you're not gonna hit high price points. So I think Avoid definitely outclasses Journey as a turn 2 buy. Yes, I think it's either silver double avoid by Sentry, or maybe even Enlarge actually wouldn't be ridiculous. Or Secluded Shrine double avoid by silver trash 2. There's no added advantage of hitting 6 here, because double avoid could get you a silver 4 copper hand, which would be 6. 7 would be great, because that would be 5 plus avoid, but there's no way to get 7 and also buy avoid. I think Shrine, Sentry, and Large all seem reasonable. Enlarge, slightly slower than Sentry at trashing. You're still killing 2 in one shuffle, and you're gaining 4s off of it, and the 4s look reasonably good here. The downside, of course, is Enlarge gets a lot worse once the estates are gone, and then it picks up again in the end game. Okay, so I think Enlarge is just worse than Sentry. I'm going to say Sentry. Final answer. Secluded Shrine wouldn't really have much of a long-term purpose in the deck, but with Trash for Benefit around, that's not really a problem because you can just enlarge the Secluded Shrine into a 5 that you actually want once it's outlived its usefulness. Because the bot just has the 5/2 naturally. This is definitely Journey. I don't have my Sentry in hand, and I want to have it in hand. The silver being on top is a little bit of a nuisance. I was guaranteed to trash this estate, and so worst case scenario I think was seeing Sentry with it. Just by, I think avoid is better than a second silver right now. Makes me much more likely to find the Sentry and also to hit 5. Okay. Right. I've got 5 and I don't have a terminal yet. So probably I'm adding Enlarge or Bandit right now. I think Enlarge sounds pretty good with 2 silver, not 2 silvers, 2 estates still left in the deck, and the silver is also not a bad target. Yeah, I think Enlarge. Final answer. This hand brings me great sadness. No Sentry, no Enlarge, and there is an easy fix to that, which is just buying a Void. But I've drawn the only configuration of my cards, 2 estates and 3 coppers, that on top of having none of my actions also doesn't hit 4. So, a Void here also does nothing because I'm not shuffling my deck. We buy a silver. I think this is the sort of kingdom where silver is probably never going to be worse than nothing. Journey here might be worth considering. I get to resolve the Enlarge a second time immediately. Those bottom 3 cards, I think, are 2 coppers and a silver. So if I were to trash this, gain a 4 by Journey, my hand is 2 copper, silver, whatever I've gained. I enlarge something a second time. Okay, I think this sounds alright. Let's gain an alley. Journey. I think I'm trashing the silver into a 5 and drawing it with the alley. So probably either Bandit or Silver Mine. I think I like the idea of Silver Mine a little bit better. I mean, Silver Mine is, for some intents and purposes, just gaining gold straight to your hand, which is much faster. Obviously, Abundance is a gold with a pretty big drawback of having to buy an action, but I wouldn't mind buying some long ships, maybe a Pilgrim or 2. And Silver Mine is also non-terminal, so it doesn't collide with the Enlarged next hand, for example. I think it's Silver Mine. Bandit has upsides too. The attack's not nothing, although the bot doesn't have any good targets yet, just 1 silver in the deck. And gold is good at being expensive junk. And so, you can turn a gold into a province, whereas you can't turn an abundance into a province. But I think I'm Team Silver Mine. Final answer. To get that into play, and since I didn't use it this turn, it'll just be 3 money free next turn. Okay, well, I don't see any of my actions, so I think I'm triggering the... I forgotten the name of this card. The Alley. That's right, the Alley. Bottom four are Alley. Wow, that's Alley, Sentry, Enlarge, Silvermine. This is just like all of my not good cards in hand at the moment. So just based on that, is there a case to be had for just buying Journey and leaving the Alley down there, for example, to enlarge? Maybe. I have 6 in hand, could be 9 with abundance. So I could, for example, put all this money into play, buy a long ship and a Journey. I could just put 4 coppers into play, leaving this abundance in play, leaving silver in my deck to redraw next turn. I think I like buying a 5 better. And if I'm buying a 5 anyway, it's probably better to just leave the Alley there. If I play it, I could draw a Silvermine, which would get me from 9 to 11, which is not a better number. I could draw a Sentry, which would not trash, or it would trash a copper actually, which would be okay-ish. I could draw Enlarge, but don't. Yeah, I think I'm convinced that I just leave this as is and buy Long Ship plus Journey. And now we Long Ship, Enlarge, Alley into Bandit, maybe? Get another abundance into play for future turns. Maybe I need a second Sentry. I don't know. I want to kill these coppers, and obviously Enlarge doesn't do that very well. Perhaps just Alley's enough. If I have deck control, I can discard coppers into the discard with Alley, and then guarantee a good Sentry hit. What am I enlarging? Gold in the province already? Maybe? Just copper into Estate to enlarge again in the future? Yeah. The gold seems a little bit early, but frankly nothing else sounds like a great target. I like the Silvermine. The abundance seems fine. The bandit seems fine. Yeah, I think I'm just going to turn the gold into province. I'm not like desperate to start scoring this turn or anything, but I just didn't have much more to do. Okay, well here we have a little bit of an awkward situation. We got 2 abundances in play already. I would naturally gain an abundance here, but to do so and then trigger it, I would need to buy a Secluded Shrine, which actually does not sound that bad. That could be a way to kill my last few coppers. I buy Secluded Shrine, and then I have 9 money left to work with, which could be a 5 and a Journey, which sounds reasonable. Option B would be just taking a silver, and then I buy a 5, then I have 6 left. Yeah, 6 sounds like a more awkward number to me, so I think I'm just doing Abundance, Secluded Shrine, Journey. What's going to be left in my deck? Silver on top, right? Yeah. Got a silver on top. I've got a Secluded Shrine, a province, and a gold in my discard. So my hand would be Secluded Shrine, silver, province, gold, and whatever I buy right now. I would take a second Enlarge, but I wouldn't be able to play it at the moment. Second Silvermine seems like it's overdoing it on abundances. Could be a second Longship. I don't really need the actions next turn, but the draw's not bad. The number I'm hitting next turn is 6, which is a tad awkward, unless I add something worth money and then buy a second province. So I think my options are buy Silvermine, gain silver, buy province next turn. or buy long ship and then buy alley avoid, another long ship. Don't think I would need a pilgrim, but maybe. Not super clear. I am inclined towards a thing that gives me more deck control. I'm not sure if that's correct. Again, like, I'm already starting to green. I've got an enlarge in my deck. The line that goes straight for provinces might not be wrong, but greening earlier and shoving the deck full of treasures is not really my cup of tea, I don't think, if it's not necessary. I think just one more long ship. I'm looking at this hand and potentially regretting that long ship. Maybe alley plus avoid would have helped me with this isn't so bad. Like, it looks like I'm not drawing, but the thing you gotta consider is it's okay not to draw your deck with a journey, because you can just buy journey and then draw the rest of your deck off of that, and then you're fine. Oh, that's a lovely sentry. Why did I even need this secluded shrine? Silly me. Okie dokie. Want to play the bandit or the enlarge, and it's important to me to hit 4, seems like, which is actually not an easy number to hit now that I'm looking at it. My silver mine can gain me a silver, and I would naturally want to trash this copper with the secluded shrine effect, but if I do that, I'm only hitting 2, because the only money left in my hand will be the silver, and then I can't afford secluded shrine. If I hit at least 3, I can buy secluded shrine, trigger all these abundances, then I have 9, then I can do journey and a 5 or something and be okay. Yeah. Okay, so I want to do all of that. So I can either enlarge the bandit or just play the bandit. I think the bandit's alright, so I'm just going to play it. And we're not going to trash anything except the opponent's gold. Take that, hard bot. Alright, gotta gain a silver here. Gotta buy a secluded shrine. None of that is, all that great, but I think it's kind of forced. And pilgrim, I suppose. Alright, alley into gold, copper into estate. Bot has a bunch of enlarges in play. Okay, so the bot's doing enlarge plus journey stuff, which I think makes sense. That's a decent synergy. This hand does not spark joy. I have 2 more long ships, I'm pretty sure, down there. I just happen to have drawn all 3 of my terminals with none of the long ships. A bit of a bummer. I mean, I could fix this by having more alleys, which would give me a little bit more reliability. But I trashed my only one. Whoopsie. For sure I want to buy avoid. I think I want to play the enlarge. I don't know if province into province helps me or not. I've only got a 1 province lead, which is not that much. And I've got a deck that I think does more in total, so probably a longer game still favors me despite the points lead. So I think just another bandit. And we're going to take another long ship, a journey, and another pilgrim. I didn't really expect to have this many pilgrims, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, this turn is not much to be fair. Just more long ships. Now I mentioned the alley thing earlier. Let's just do this and fix my deck quality problems. I've ended up playing with just about every card in the kingdom, I think, except for Trickster now. Okay, well, this looks like a nasty hand because I once again have a bunch of terminals and no long ship, but I think I'm pretty darn likely, watch me jinx myself, but if any of my top 4 cards is a long ship, I still have a turn. And yeah, I'm going to be pretty annoyed if that's not the case. There are long ships. There's a lot of long. Is this like 3 long ships in the bottom? I've just been shoving those things in my deck. Where are they? I know I have long ships. How did this happen? This is all 4 of my terminals, and I think I've bottom decked 3 long ships. Maybe I'm confused with the number of long ships, but I'm pretty sure my bottom deck is like mostly long ships. 4 long ships? I don't know. It's a bunch of long ships. I long for my ships. Okay, well, I'm not playing the Pilgrim. I just draw them all dead. This was with the added Avoid and Alley too. It's just cruel irony. So you play the Secluded Shrine, trash the copper for free off of the Silver Mine gain, play the Enlarge, get the Secluded Shrine into play, then I get this 1 straggler copper that's not easy to deal with. That's not a big deal. I think I like playing this enough. Just more long ships. I feel like more long ships don't deserve to be in my deck at the moment, but I think it's the simplest card to add. Where did this go? Oh, I have a second one. Oh, I forgot that I had 2 of those. Okay, so I get to have my cake and eat it too. Totally forgot about that Secluded Shrine. Add another alley, I suppose. Journey. 7's a slightly awkward number. I guess it could just be a 5 and then a void. I don't know. Let's take another Pilgrim. Is that too many terminals? I swear I've got villages, but you know, they're not being very cooperative. I feel like I shouldn't need a Sentry for reliability. I've got an alley. I've got a bunch of start to turn draw. Yeah, Sentry just feels wrong. A second Enlarge perhaps makes sense. It's also a thing I wouldn't mind playing on my journey turn. Okay, I want to discard the province for sure. Let's just pitch all the treasures. Okay, gold in the province. Yes, I had 3 long ships down there. I'm going to play this. Okay, I gotta admit, I was initially planning to just discard whatever I drew. I didn't want the alley on top, or I would have drawn it at the start of turn. But now that I see that I have a Pilgrim, that maybe changes the calculation a bit. Yeah, let's discard this long ship and draw with the Pilgrim. There might have been a case for playing that bandit first. I should have considered that. Getting a gold in the shuffle, I'm not sure if that was a good idea or not. Probably was a bad idea anyway, if I'm not drawing my deck, and so I don't want to top deck on the stop card, but I should have at least thought about it. Okay, so I can play all of these. I don't think I need to buy anything, so let's just do bandit, enlarge province into province, or one of these into duchy. Yeah, I remain skeptical of lowering provinces. I think the longer I think I'm fine if I do that, but I think longer game favors me. So it could be abundance into duchy, buy a void, or silver into duchy, leave an abundance in play. Both of which sound pretty good, but given previous shuffles, I think my paranoia is telling me, let's just be extra safe and buy a void. Goodbye duchy, goodbye province, goodbye secluded shrine. That's a good starting hand. I think winning this turn sounds pretty darn realistic, especially beyond realistic. Now it sounds basically guaranteed. I think I could have done 5 provinces this turn if I had to, and I think what that would look like is playing enlarge, buying journey, and then do like enlarge province and a province in the journey turn. I think would have gotten me there anyway, but this should be getting me there and much further than there. Okay, so I want to play these before I draw them. Long ship, gold into the shuffle. Doesn't matter what I top deck because I'm going to draw it. Discard, discard, and this is 8, 10, 19 in hand. So yeah, this is a win plus a duchy. Actually more than a duchy. I didn't even account for the silver mine. I was thinking it was going to be 16 exactly after the secluded shrine buy, but it was more. Okie dokie. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Hardbot's deck precisely. So it didn't seem like it was doing terrible stuff over there. It bought and avoid that did nothing on turn 1, but like that's not a mistake. There was just nothing to buy turn 1. This is a cheeky buy more than a mistake. There's nothing wrong with that. It opened Sentry, which I think is probably correct on the 2/5. Enlarge would also be a reasonable opening, but I like Sentry better. And then don't know what happened here. Is this an error? What does that mean? Button large is second 5. I think that seems reasonable. Journey, long ship. I'm Sentry, enlarge, long ship. All that seems reasonable, but it's fallen behind here somehow. Like it seems decently far behind. Okay, it bought a gold. It's gaining golds one. Okay, never mind. we found the problem turn. I thought that silver mine turned out decent. Like I was making a lot of money off of these abundances. Bandit was also fine. I think we got 2 good treasure gainers. I think this is probably where it's losing tempo. If I had to guess, is the gaining golds 1 by 1 seems like a bit of a mistake. And I mean maybe it had some other bad shuffles in there as well. It's also player 2, but that's the most identifiable thing I can see. As far as my deck, I don't know. My shuffles did not seem great either. I was having perpetual awkwardness with these villages, drawing all the terminals on top, which I think was pretty unlikely. Especially the turn I added the alley and the event that is alley-like, avoid. I could see building less than this. Like I'm not confident you need to have enough long ships to play pilgrims. Like this feels fine, but I could maybe just depending on shuffles easily see this deck just being Sentry, Enlarge, Bandit, 1 or 2 long ships in earlier provinces as well. Pretty happy with the silver mine. I think I dig that. Yeah, I think the thing I'm uncertain about is like, do you build enough to play a bunch of pilgrims and try to draw a big deck of stuff, or do you get to enlarging golds into provinces a little bit sooner? Not totally sure on that. Yeah, I still don't know. Like if I'm thinking about the core of the deck, get a Sentry, get enlarges, a long ship or 2. Like the thing I'm describing is basically what Hardbot did, which seems fine and just fell behind. I don't know.